So I had Jewish friends who recently went, and they were saying that they didn't know if they'd be able to go back.
There is over anti-Semitism going on in London, like crazy. I mean,
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the police don't really do anything about it. So, you know, there were charges dropped when there were some Islamist activists were driving through a Jewish area of London shouting anti-Semitic slurs and threats. And that was just completely dropped, like no one cares. And of course, you have these various pro-Palestine marches. And most of the people there aren't there to be anti-Semitic and aren't there to cause trouble. But there's a sizable minority who are. And they do explicitly call for violence against Jewish people. Nothing really happens there.
Do you think there's like something in the gut of Western people that is like gets activated? I mean, clearly we see it in, you know, Islam. There's an anti-Semitic streak,
yes,
to say the least. But do you think that there is something in the West too that seems to like rise up?
It always recurs, doesn't it?
It's so I'm obsessed with how weird it is.
It's the Venn diagram, the far left and the far right. This is where they totally love each other, totally agree, and it always comes back. I mean, I've seen a lot of over anti-Semitism, like proper kind of on X. I mean, like on social media, like proper kind of disturmer caricatures of Jewish people, like stuff you thought was eradicated. You know, we don't have that anymore, do we? Apparently, we do. Like crazy conspiracy theories. Like everyone. At the moment, I think it's because we've had experts, media, politicians, all of those lot lying and getting caught out in lies for the last 5 years or so. So now people are not going to defer to the judgment of experts, but instead they believe absolutely any crank online who says anything. So I know people who used to be just skeptical, you know, journalists who would think about stuff. Some of them are now saying the dinosaurs were a fake and they were created by a cabal of Satanists who run the world, and they mean Jewish people. And they believe all this stuff. And they say that this cabal of Satanists pick the world leaders and they gather in cellars to decide what should happen, and they drink the blood of Christian children or whatever the hell it is. Sacrifice owls, whatever it might be. But they are, and they mean it. Like they've lost their fucking mind.
I have this like bit that I'm trying to work out and for the stage, and it's like whenever anyone says to me in dead seriousness, Candace Owens says, and then it's like you're in this scene in a zombie apocalypse where a bunch of you are hanging out and then you realize someone in your party got bit and you're like, oh shit, you've been bit.
So many people are willing to believe anything. What?
You've been bit.
But why believe?
We need to put you in a cage in the other room.
Because it's contagious.
It is contagious.
But so here's the thing, like, you know, these people started out by being annoyed because they were being lied to.
Right.
And they talk about how you need to have more critical thinking. You need to just read beyond the headlines. But in order to have critical thinking, you have to apply that consistently.
Yeah.
It also means when someone says to you, actually, did you know the moon landings didn't happen? You have to actually think about that, look into it. Don't just say, yeah, that's true, because I heard it online. That must be true.
But you can find evidence to support really any belief now.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
And so this is where, and I don't blame people for believing every conspiracy theory, because they were told, particularly COVID really broke people.
Yeah.
They were told that things that were true were conspiracy theories.
Yes.
And
that's a hard one because it was a disease with such a low mortality rate, and yet the whole of society got shut down. And then renowned epidemiologists who said, this isn't the way to do it. Just shield the vulnerable and let everyone else get on with it. The fact that children were not vulnerable, and we knew they weren't vulnerable to this, and yet schools got shut down. That makes people think, well, what's going on? Why that reaction? There must be something else.
And then the renowned epidemiologists totally reversed course, and they were like, racism's the real virus.
Oh, you know, I particularly liked the experts, the medical journal. Was it a medical journal? They wrote about how the Black Lives Matter protests, because you have to shut everything down, but the Black Lives Matter protests were fine. The virus wouldn't spread there because the virus supported the cause. I don't think they said that, but they said something like...
The virus also had BLM signs in their front yard.
Exactly. If you look under a microscope, you see the little black fist and you think, okay. No, I think it was their argument was that systemic racism was so deep and nasty and evil that it was worth the spread of the virus for that But even that argument is weak. Right? Either there's a life-threatening virus that you should shut everything down, or there isn't.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't pick and choose when it's sort of okay.
And you had people losing their small businesses.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to AA meetings, but you could go to liquor stores.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You had like people were dying alone, and they were like, "But go protest."
What I loved was when I was on a plane. There was that weird moment where you were allowed out, but you had to wear the mask and all that. And on the plane, you could take the mask off if you were eating or drinking.
No, it was insane.
Right. So, and I just nursed a glass of wine for the whole flight, and that was fine because the virus respected the fact that I was, in the midst of nourishment and wouldn't spread at that moment. It was a very considerate virus. That's what I would say about COVID.
I also think it was very considerate that it knew that it shouldn't spread when you were walking to your table in a restaurant, but once you were seated at the table,
but this
and took your mask off.
This makes me think it must have been developed in a lab because no virus is naturally that considerate, and that feels very much like Eastern, decorum.
It does
doesn't it?
actually. Yes, it's very obedient.
So maybe it is a Chinese. Right, that makes sense.
Maybe it was developed in a lab.
Yeah. By Chinese, it was a polite virus. It was about the politeness.
It
was just trying to set an example for the rest of the viruses that just spread recklessly. That's what it was trying to do.
This was a virus that got in line. It obeyed rules.
Great. When it comes to the viruses, it's the best. The one I admire the most on an ethical level.
Yeah.
That's what I would